So we got this viral music clip. For some reason, I don't know why. I don't think the music's necessarily all that bad, but it's this emo punk hardcore musician that he's got this very woke line. He says, this is punk, him wearing a dress and singing about overtly woke establishment politics. I'll play the clip for you, but I think this is really interesting because there's an argument about what punk music really is. There's gatekeepers, everybody thinks they know, and all that stuff. But this guy in this song, it's got, I think it's got millions. It's got 1.9 million views. I think it's got 4.6 thousand responses, 1.2 thousand retweets and quote tweets. So this guy's taken off. And I want to stress a few things to everybody as we talk about music, pop culture, what is punk, what is not punk, and all of this stuff. Y'all are making this guy famous. And I got no beef with that. I think more power to him. I'll say this right away for this guy. His name is TX2. I actually think he's a pretty good musician. I'm a big fan of emo music, and it's not really like what I focus on these days. I'd say like mostly I listen to, what am I listening to? A lot of oldies. I just have always loved, good classic rock. One of the greatest songs ever written, of course, Disco Rasputin by Boney M. And they got Rivers of Babylon, too. Good stuff. But, of course, I was listening to the Tony Hawk 2 soundtrack earlier because those are classics. May 16th, ladies and gentlemen. What a good song by Lagwagon. Sad story about what that song's about. And that's skate punk, right? And what are these songs about, right? What is punk? Well, TX2 says this is what punk is about. A year ago, we wrote a song and named it after a governor in Tennessee who was trying to pass laws banning drag shows affecting gender-affirming care. We called out several governors by name in the song to spread awareness. My guy, that's not punk. That's pop. You're making pop music. Pop means popular culture. It's in the style of punk. I can respect that. And I'm not here to tell people what punk should or shouldn't be because that's impossible and everybody thinks they can tell you. But traditionally, punk was super offensive. I think like Sid Vicious once wore like a swastika or something like that. This ain't punk. You hashtagging LGBTQ drag queen, it's pop rock and it's pop emo and all this stuff. And but good on him. It's brilliant marketing to say this is what punk is about. And then he goes on and sings a song which would align with like Northrop Grumman and Boeing and all of these big military industrial contractors. It aligns perfectly with their DEI statements. Like, I got to tell you, man, I go to a skate park in, I think it was in Front Royal, Virginia. And I think it was. And I see this big Black Lives Matter spray painted on the ramp. And I'm just laughing. I'm like, dude, what happened to skateboarding? What happened to punk rock? Look, man. I get it. Racism, nobody likes this. But Black Lives Matter is a massive national Democrat Party aligned political action committee movement, et cetera, nonprofit. It's a bunch of different things. It is the corporate motto of a bunch of companies. They plaster it everywhere. It's just like the antithesis of punk rock. Like, I'm going to defy the system and write Walmart's slogan. What is Walmart's slogan, actually? Let's, you guys probably know. I don't know. What is it? Save money, live better. Could you imagine if kids were going around with like spray paint masks and writing save money, live better? Punk rock. I'm like, no, dude, this is establishment narrative, mainstream politics. It's called pop. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It doesn't mean you're not allowed to support it. But punk has traditionally been anti-establishment. So you take a look at like Rage Against the Machine and yeah, we jokingly call them Rage on Behalf of the Machine now because they're basically in support of the Democratic Party. They're aligned with a major uniparty establishment pitch. Donald Trump says, no war, we're going to shut the war down. And they're like, Trump is bad, yo, fight Ukraine. And you're like, since when did the left want to get rid of free speech, shut everybody down? I'll put it this way. My friend, punk rock, whatever you want to call it, was traditionally offensive and shocking. What you're doing right now is establishment-approved narrative. And I suppose you can argue that it is punk. It is. Because back in the day, this is what they would do. They would wear a dress and they'd be offensive and shocking and say, I can do this and you can't tell me otherwise, because popular culture opposed it. And so there's two views you can take, I suppose. One is that punk was the rejection of mainstream narratives, popular culture, and the establishment. Well, now that those practices, like wearing a dress and saying these things, are in line with the establishment, the other argument would be it was always the aesthetic. That's what punk was. Punk challenged the machine, but there's two views of it. One is you're punk rock if you oppose the narrative and you're the counterculture. The other view is punk means wearing a dress and acting in these particular ways. In which case, when those particular ways become mainstream, popular, or whatever, it's still punk in their view. I think it's fair to say that punk is a certain style of music too, so you can sing about anything. But then, of course, there's pop punk, and there's emo, and there's hardcore, and there's pop. This is a pop song. I'm going to play you this guy's song, and then and we'll talk more about it. Here you go. You guys ready?
Put a bullet in a kid's head, think they got a sickness and they're not dressed up straight. But what happens in the closet doesn't matter if you profit from the flag of the USA. You're too fucking old, you do as you're told. You base your life off your nation's scroll. Out there burning witches, filling up the ditches. Tell me, can I still be saved?
So the first thing I want to say about this, what I find really fascinating, is like the woman with she's not like behind him. She's at the bass player, but she's not really playing the bass. And there's no guitar player, but it's got a guitar riff. And I'll tell you what, you don't got to like his music. I like emo. I actually think his music is pretty good. He's got some other songs, and I'm like, for someone who's making emo music these days, it's not bad. What I see here, it's not punk. This is, I got to tell you, it's kind of sad. Because I think this dude actually knows how to make music. And he's got some good riffs. And he's got some good hooks and some good melodies. But this appears to me like corporate begging. That's why I'm like, that's so sad, dude. If you don't have to come out and be like, I'm a Christian and I love Jesus or whatever. Like, you're not doing anything like that. But like, to come out and be like, the narrative of Black Lives Matter and the corporate press and Amazon and Halliburton and Northrop Grumman and Boeing is exactly what we want to do. It's like, yeah, okay, dude, look, let me tell you something. Right? You are in line with every major corporation writing a song about the Republican Party's policy positions. I just kind of feel like, imagine someone being like, yo, I'm punk rock. Let's go. Obama is the greatest. Yeah. It's like, I don't know, man. You've got a uniparty establishment. You've got two factions arguing in a culture war. So when we put out a song called Genocide, it didn't actually play into political parties at all. The song we put out, and I'm not saying we're like the gatekeepers of punk or anything like that. It's like a pop rock song with punk elements. It was, if you listen to our song Genocide on Spotify, this guy gets way more traffic than we do. Don't get me wrong. The song is criticizing the corporate press, advocating for war, and pushing us towards World War III. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. Punk rock growing up was, like in its essence, the machine is bad. The machine is comprised of all of it. Now what's happened is punk and emo and hardcore just fully aligned with the machine. But I tell you this, I've got a song for you, everybody. You see, I took what he wrote and using the power of artificial intelligence, I have fixed it. And here's my version.
What's the legend the kids like? Think they got a sickness? If they like dress up gay, but what happens in the closet doesn't matter if you profit from the drugs of corporate USA. You're too freaking woke. You do as you're told. You live your life off the TikTok scroll. Out there chasing vid views, filling up on fake news, but I think you can still be saved.
That's it. I took his lyrics and I changed it. So let's counter his lyrics, all right? And I'm not saying my song's punk either. He says, put a bullet in a kid's head if you think they got a sickness if they're not dressed up straight. I disagree. You're putting a syringe in a kid's leg, think they're sick unless they dress up, if they want to dress up gay. That's what's really happening. Nobody in the Republican Party is shooting anybody in the face because they're concerned about kids' behaviors. And quite the opposite. The argument is you are telling kids they're suffering from some mental disorder and they need medication and surgery because they don't want to wear the clothes. Dude, that is not punk rock, man. It's so silly. Let me tell you what's punk rock. Punk rock is, my dude, You are here wearing a dress on stage. I'll give you this one, punk rock. But the idea that because you did, you need medical intervention and pills pumped out by big pharma, that is not punk rock. And that's what you're defending. See, this is what I take issue with. I don't think it is anti-establishment to be like, if they're not dressed up straight, my guy, I don't care if you wear a clown costume. The idea that you need a medical and surgical intervention that helps give profits to massive multinational corporations is the least punk rock thing imaginable. Nobody, he's like, we want to defend gender affirming care. Profit from the flag of the USA. This is like the other thing, like, okay, like, but you're not saying anything, dude. It's mindless platitudes meant to align with the corporate narrative. What do you mean profit from the flag of the USA? You mean like corporations selling American flags? Bro, I'm telling you right now, the Trump people don't want foreign intervention in foreign war and the military-industrial complex, okay? I can't speak for anybody else. I'll speak for myself. You're not punk rock when you wear a dress and then say, by doing so, kids need to get surgery and drugs, right? That's weird. And then he says, you're too effing old. You do as you're told. You live your life off an ancient scroll. This is, and then he makes like a crazy gesture. There's nothing to be said to really there because he's not making an argument about anything. He's just saying, I disagree with your worldview. It's like, okay, touche. Shall we move on? I don't think that solves anything. Burning witches, filling up ditches. Burning witches was an ergot poisoning thing, regardless of religious belief. You know, a lot of people want to look back in history like it was Christians who were doing it. It's like they were tripping on drugs. They were eating ergot wheat. And then they went and they started killing people because they're stupid. Nobody's got it. Tell me, can I still be saved? My friend, of course you can. There's no question. My point here is, you know, what I wrote as a joke, mind you. You're too woke. You do as you're told. You live your life off the TikTok scroll. That's what you're doing. You're scrolling the TikTok feed and you're like, I'm going to be whatever they tell me to do. You're chasing video views, filling up on fake news. But yeah, man, you can still be saved. And I'm not a Christian. What I really, really love about all of these arguments that come from these people is they're like, you're a Christian. And I just love this. You know, I'll make a comment about something like this. And then like all these leftists be like, Christians don't even understand. They claim to care about this. And I'm like, I'm not a Christian. I also love the response from Christians. Like, if Tim's not a Christian, what is he? They call me an atheist. It's like you're either I'm not an atheist either. I suppose as close as I can get is probably like deist, I suppose. I have my own views on life, the universe, spirituality, the great beyond, and God. I do believe there is a God, but probably a very different one from the ones that Christians believe in a variety of ways. But there's probably some overlap there. Ultimately, the question is, what is punk about? It's a good question. I'll tell you this. You know, he also calls it a drag show rock or whatever. Yeah, I don't care if you want to be shocking and offensive to people, but this is not. This is politically aligned shocking and offensive. You want to be shockingly offensive. You want to be anti-establishment. You want to be true punk rock. Okay, well, here's one way to do it in the traditional sense. Go up on stage wearing a dress, just like you're doing, and then mock the Democrats and the Republicans. Challenge the whole machine, challenge the whole culture war. And I would respect if you went up there and said, too preoccupied with what the world is supposed to be like, what both sides think they should win on, instead of focusing on the suffering of the working class, the wars overseas. You know what I mean? I got no beef if you care about political issues. That's fine. But this was the bait, and everybody took it. I'll say it again. I actually think this guy's pretty good. I do. I'll say that. I don't agree with him politically. That's fine. But he's got a couple other clips, and I checked out his music, and he gets good plays. Moderately sized band. And this dude can write some hooks. He really, I like emo. So I think it's actually pretty good music. The only thing that kind of bums me out is going the Democrat route for trying to be successful in music is kind of a bummer. Like, if this dude wrote songs in this style, but didn't get overtly political, his market cap would be substantially larger, especially with people like me and other people who don't like the harsh political narratives in our cultural stuff. So we've got a song called let me actually pull it up, "Genocide" by Timcast, and "Losing My Mind" official video. And I don't know if you guys have seen this stuff. We promoted it pretty decently, and it's got 1.5 million views as of a year ago, 12,000 comments. And this song is like pop, rock, punk, and it overwhelmingly just makes fun of everyone. That's the whole song. In fact, there's a point where I'm doing Tucker Carlson face, basically mocking Tucker Carlson. We make fun of massive multinational corporations. You don't have to agree with any of that. Actually, and I'll show you this one. This one is Will of the People. Let's pull this one up. This is the first song that we put out, and I think this one is it's on the Timcast IRL channel. It's got 2.5 million views. It's got like 1 million on Spotify and 1 million in other places. This song is about the actually, I'll just jump to the end. It's about the revolving cycle of revolution and dictators taking over. This song comes out, and a bunch of leftists were actually like, I really like this song. And when they found out it was from me, they got really upset. And they're commenting on, like Hassan Piker's video being like, oh, that was Tim Pool. That's so lame, but he's a fascist. And it's because my video wasn't overtly narrative-driven politics lining up with Black Lives Matter or with Donald Trump. It was a commentary on everybody is fighting for the worldview they want, and revolutions beget revolutions, no matter who you are. And that's it. That's the commentary. So, I'll stress this again. Like, this guy's probably just posting bait. But my final thoughts, because I don't need to make this super long, is it's kind of a bummer. This guy's got some catchy, good emo hooks. We've got an emo song that we're working on, and the lyrics are literally just about like a dude dating a girl. That's what like emo was. It was like, that's what emo was, I guess. And so to make emo punk hardcore music that's like Republicans are bad and Democrats are good is just like, oh, come on, man. That's so tired. It's so tired. But I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying like this song that he wrote, if it was about something else, literally anything else, he'd have a bigger market share and market opportunity for reaching audiences. And then he can say whatever he wants whenever he wants. But I think he's just basically an activist for the Democrat Party. And so it's like, that's cool. You're allowed to do that. Whatever. Music can be good, but I'm not gonna follow a band or play music when we're skating or share it with my friends if you're just a political activist. If your song is literally just like, here's why the Democrats and Amazon.com are good, then it's just like, okay, well, like you basically made a jingle for the Democratic Party. That's fine, I guess. But it's also a culture war. It is what it is, right? And so there you go. I will say, look, again, shout out. I do like his hooks and everything, but his lyrics are just like, they're just like generic. You know what I mean? Anyway, I'll leave it there. There you go. There's your viral clip that everyone's sharing. Next segment's coming up at 8 p.m. over at youtube.com/TimcastIRL. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.